Lambeau Field is sacred football ground, and tonight it plays host to one of the defining battles in sports. Packers-Bears, the 195th edition of the Border Battle.
Football's longest rivalry, maybe its greatest rivalry. We kick off in 90 minutes, but it's the next 30 minutes that are dedicated to this border battle between the Bears and the Pack. We've got our own team covering this two-state tussle. Scott Grodsky is going to go one-on-one with a Packers legend. We're going to also pull back the curtain on CBS's national football coverage. Evan Krugel straddling the state line with rabid fans from both sides. That one should be fun. This is a rivalry. It's gone back nearly a century. Intense dislike, maybe hatred on both sides?
I think it's a safe thing to say. Both sides of this rivalry have disliked each other since Chicago was called the Staleys.
There you go.
That would be 1921, the Packers in their infancy at that time. 97 years later, the story is the same. Win the border battle, and you've got bragging rights over your neighbors, plus a coveted win over an NFC North foe. Packers players who grew up on this rivalry understand why it's the pinnacle of NFL clashes.
It's something that, kids all over Wisconsin, I'm sure, dream of. And I'm fortunate enough to be here and to play in a game like this. I'm just looking forward to being out there under the lights, man. It'll be fun.
Coach McCarthy showed us the video of just the history of the Bears-Packers. So to grow up a Bears fan and to now be a part of this rivalry is pretty special.
All right, the players have not had much time to soak up this rivalry. Packers and Bears, they played, just 4 days ago, and that means less time for bruised bodies to recover. We're going to have more on that later in the show. Less time for the coaches to game plan from Lambeau Field to Hallis Hall. Everyone kind of running off adrenaline this week.
Yeah, and I don't think many of us players like it, other than the uniforms. We like, changing up the uniform a little bit, but physically, you really don't have an opportunity to recover.
It's part of it. We got to do this at least once a year. You just got to grind through it. Obviously, it's a tough time for us because of the injury bug we've been dealing with.
And nowhere has that bug bitten harder than at tackle. Kyle Murphy is the latest to go down. The Packers had to sign Ulrich John from Arizona's practice squad. Wow. Wikipedia that name. Both starting tackles, Brian Bulaga and David Bakhtiari, are ailing, and again, we'll revisit that. Packers' offensive machine is going to have to keep rolling with guys like Justin McCray and Adam Pankey.
It's definitely not a position you'd want to be in. I think you got, technically, your 5 tackles all banged up right now. That's not something that you want to see.
Tonight's battle could be a turning point in the all-time series. Each team with 94 wins, and if the Pack win tonight, they'll have a lead in the series for the first time since before Bart Starr was even born.
How about that? 1932, the last lead in the series. The Pack have made up 24 games in the last quarter century. Thank you, Favre and Rodgers. And Chicago has 2 wins against the Pack since 2011. Very Packers heavy these last 25 years or so.
Well, and we hope to continue that role tonight. This rivalry, really, it spawned decades of memories, career highlights for everybody involved.
CBS 58's Scott Grodsky sat down with the Packers legend to look at this intense rivalry through his eyes. Scott.
Before he was dancing with the stars, Donald Driver was dancing in the end zone against the Bears. The Packers' all-time leading receiver has played against Chicago 24 times. That's more than almost anyone not named Favre or Starr. So it gives him a unique perspective on this historic rivalry.
For that type of game, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the records are. We always feel like the Bears don't like us, we don't like them. But the good thing is that at the end of the day, we all respect each other when the game is all said and done. But it's the fans. It's the fans that really just don't like each other. And it's exciting to watch.
When I sat down with Donald to look over 14 years against the bitter rivals, it wasn't hard to pick out the best memories.
The one that always will stick with me is the one where we had to beat them to go to the playoffs, and then to beat them to go to the Super Bowl, because you knew that you had to beat them twice. And it's hard to do when you have to beat a team twice like that. But we were blessed to beat them twice and go on to win the Super Bowl that year.
He'll be watching tonight as a few of his former teammates try to take their first lead in the all-time series since 1932. With every season, a few more new faces come to Lambeau Field, but the Packer way stays the same.
I played with, Clay and Aaron and Randall Cobb and Jordy, and when you start to look at that team is starting to break up. I mean, it's starting to spread from the veteran guys to now the younger guys. But these younger guys are doing exactly what we did when we left. So they're just filling the holes.
Kevin and Bill, I have to admit that my favorite answer from Donald Driver during that didn't actually come from me. It came from a fan question asking, who was your favorite quarterback that you played with? His answer was simply both.
Now it's time to talk inactives, and this is not pretty, Bill.
This is really bad news. Both tackles and, arguably your best player on defense, all among the inactives. Mike Daniels, Balaga, Bakhtiari.
Fans, before this game even starts, will be paying close attention to the national anthem. That is a source of controversy.
Yeah, more than just football tonight. The Packers say they're going to link arms during the anthem before the game. They're asking the fans to do the same. You may remember where this all started. Former NFL quarterback, Milwaukee native Colin Kaepernick. Then about a week ago, President Donald Trump called anyone who kneels during the anthem an SOB. NFL players responded in various ways during the anthem on Sunday, and now pretty much everybody is mad about something. Some are mad at the president, some are mad at the players, still others are mad at the people who are mad at the players. It's a mess, but Packers coach Mike McCarthy thinks his players have handled this situation well, and he says he will stand with them tonight. All right, so we get that out of the way. Whether it's pregame controversy or final second excitement, the CBS TV broadcast, it does a great job. It captures the lasting images from these games.
It's amazing to think of the team it takes as they cover every inch of the field and beyond, of course, in crystal clear high definition. Well, you don't have to imagine it. We're going to look at it. Christina Tuso in studio. Christina.
All right, guys, America's hankering for football goes far beyond Sunday. Many of you will stay tuned after this for a primetime game, but what does it take to put on tonight's production at Lambeau Field? We go behind the scenes with CBS Sports.
It's bigger than any show we do on Sunday. I've called it before Super Bowl in a box.
The greatest show on earth is reserved for the Ringling Brothers. But CBS's presentation of a primetime weekday game is still a version of a traveling circus. More than a dozen semis, a couple hundred employees, 50 cameras, and one stadium have helped create what you now know as Thursday Night Football. Tonight's sight made better by one of the most iconic venues the sport has to offer.
Very few get the privilege of being inside Lambeau Field.
The production has countless faces behind the scenes. You're more familiar with these ones. Tracy Wolfson, entering her 13th year with the network and is the lead reporter for the NFL on CBS.
What is it like to be on the sidelines during an NFL game?
It's intense and it's always changing. You're giving a view from the field that everyone else can't get, but there's so much intensity. You can hear the hits and you can feel the vibe every single game.
From the pylon camera to the goalpost to the 50-yard line, you now have endless eyes from the comfort of your own living room. But perhaps the biggest change is what you may have missed, which is why in the late 70s, CBS Sports helped pioneer the instant replay.
That really kind of upped the ante of production.
Like any live sporting event, controlled chaos is inevitable. It just takes a dream team to make you think it's effortless.
This is kind of our headquarters as it relates to making sure that our product is perfect.
Guys, that same team will be hard at work tonight before making a quick turnaround to bring this same setup to Denver on Sunday.
Thank you, Christina. There is a new voice in the CBS coverage, and he is well known to fans in Wisconsin.
Burlington native Tony Romo, and I tell you what, nothing in today's modern days gets universal praise. Nothing is universally liked.
No.
But Tony Romo has managed it, and he's great at this, isn't he?
Terrific insights that he gives, and a lot of fun. We enjoyed him Sunday. We're going to enjoy him tonight, but right now, CBS 58's Mike Kirkhoff is going to enjoy a little one-on-one time with Tony Romo.
Of the many great Wisconsin traditions here at Lambeau, there will be another Wisconsin great here tonight. Wisconsin native Tony Romo is back for his second week in a row in the CBS Sports broadcast booth here at Lambeau. He was a veteran star quarterback in the league, but right now he's just a rookie.
It's been really enjoyable. You know, I get to stay in football, and so that's been really exciting. And having someone like Jim Nantz next to you, I mean, he's made me look pretty good here starting off. I think, you know, just our team has been really exceptional. And you don't realize how much of a team it is until you get here. And
Romo being an elite QB and playing as recently as last year, it makes it easy for him to put himself in Aaron Rodgers' shoes, getting knocked down so often this season.
During the stretch, whether tackles are out and the offensive line, they just, you know, you want to be able to run the ball a little more. You want to get him outside the pocket on bootlegs where he doesn't have to stand in the same spot over and over again. And you'll see him do a little bit of this stuff. And Aaron's pretty smart. He'll protect himself. And if they're able to get wins along the way before they get healthy. This Green Bay team in the second half of the year is going to be a much different team than you're seeing early. They're a very good team.
We'll hear Romo's fourth game as CBS Sports lead analyst tonight right here on CBS 58. At Lambeau Field, Mike Kirchhoff, CBS 58 News.
It is the NFL's oldest rivalry, and for fans, it's the greatest.
Yeah, CBS 58's Evan Krugel is live in Kenosha, where sometimes the lines between the Packers and Bears can get a little blurry. Hey, Evan.
Yeah, down here in Kenosha is where this rivalry really comes to life. The Wisconsin-Illinois border, of course, home to fans from both teams, and they are quickly streaming here into the Brat Stop tonight. You can see they've got Packers stuff on the wall, they have Bears stuff on the wall, and twice a year both fan bases gather here to collide for this big showdown. Now, we've seen people streaming in here all afternoon to pick up brats and beer, of course exchanging a little trash talk along the way, and it's not uncommon to find homes down here flying both flags. This year that rivalry has some extra meaning. The all-time series between these two teams tied, meaning tonight's game will go a long way towards bragging rights.
Just makes it that much better, I think.
It's huge, and with both teams coming off an overtime victory last week, I think it's huge. And the Bears have got a lot of work to do. I'm not really confident, but we still do have our standard wager, $1.
The Green Bay Packers fans have always been very accommodating. You know, there's a healthy sort of a fight between the two of us, but you know, it all comes down to what's in the field, not what's in the stands. So everybody's been usually pretty great.
Now, the Packers haven't had a lead in this series since 1932, so certainly a lot on the line tonight, and you can bet fans will be watching closely here along the border. We're live in Kenosha. Evan Krugel, CBS 58 News.
The border battle is back, and you know the saying in real estate, Bill, location, location, location.
There's a homeowner in Green Bay. He's got the perfect location for football fans, and it's up for sale, but just wait until you hear the price tag. Can I ask, you didn't pay $1 million for your house?
No, I didn't.
Michael Tom lives on Shadow Lane. The street is in the shadow of Lambeau Field.
I mean, it's a real nice area to live in.
The home directly across from his is up for sale. 3-bedroom ranch, 1 bathroom, 2-car garage, asking price just under $1 million.
I couldn't have believed that that house could be listed that much money. And there's somebody that'll buy that house.
Back in 2000, this house was sold for $108,500. In 2007, someone bought it for $170,000.
Popularity of Packer Nation is driving this.
Realtor Mark Olenichik says that while home prices have been rising around Lambeau Field, this listing a bit of a surprise.
The seller is blazing a new trail in Green Bay. I have no comparable sale to justify that price.
You may be wondering to yourself, well, what does $1 million buy these days? Well, in the Milwaukee area, can I interest you in a 3,000 square foot home on Lake Drive in Shorewood? According to the listing, it has tall ceilings, hardwood floors, sweeping Lake Michigan views, and your own private beach. Or what you could do is buy this house with similar square footage to the house on Shadow Lane. It's less than a mile away from Lambeau Field, and if you bought this house, you could stick $850,000 in your pocket. And what might be even more shocking about this house, it's almost a given that whoever buys it won't even live here. This is a party house, a base camp for fans to eat and drink before and after each game.
They rent them out for the Packer games, and they just have a blast.
The Packers have 10 guaranteed home games each season. But for almost every other day, this place is going to sit empty.
So you really have to be a great Packer fan or a business that's buying it to entertain their customers.
For most of us, $1 million is just too much money. But based on how much fans love this team, some say it's money well spent.
God's not making any more land on Lambeau or Lombardi backing up to Lambeau. So even if they overpaid a little bit, if they were going to keep it for the long term, they should have an excellent investment.
Okay, I'll give you $1 million for this place.
I can't sell it. My mom's been here for a while now, and my mom likes it here.
All right, that realtor you saw in the story, Mark Olenichik, well, he knows a little bit about real estate. He also knows a little bit about the Packers. His father, Dominic Olenichik, chairman of the Packers board, and hired a guy named Vince Lombardi back in 1959.